Morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. Sorry that I'm a little bit late. It's 10:05, and I should have been on a little bit earlier, but my fantastic work computer decided, nope, it's not working today. Um, Morning, everybody. So I've asked you to write your name in the comment section, sorry, in the chat section, so that I can put you onto the Wheel of Fortune. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you that, but I'm gonna film it after this, and you'll see who it lands on and who wins the prize from last week. Now, I've put in as many people as I can from last week, and I will go through this list in a minute to ensure that I've got everybody. Um, but today I will spin the wheel and you will see who wins the prize. So morning everybody, morning Wasi, morning Abu, morning Elsie, morning Chedza, morning Kaimani, morning Abra, morning Jagir, morning, who else have I seen? Dilraj, Dowd, Chanel, Sahil. If I've not Arvin, if I've not shouted your name, put your name in the comment section and I will shout you out in a second. Hopefully you have done the, well, first of all, morning Amane, I will just have a quick chat to you about what you might have heard over the last few days, okay? Now, I am going to be honest. You may have heard that we are going back to school on the 1st of June. Okay. Now, I don't know any more than what you know. But there's lots of things that could be that could mean that we don't go back to school on June the 1st. Okay. And that could be that the current situation that we're in doesn't continue to decline, or it could be that actually there's 92 of you, and safely looking after 92 of you might not be a feasible thing. Um, there's lots of reasons, and I don't know any of the answers. I don't know any of the answers to any of the questions we've all probably got. Okay, but what I do know is that in that meantime, there's lots and lots of opportunities for you to carry on working and carry on ensuring that you're not falling behind lots and you're not struggling lots. Okay. Now, if we do go back on June the 1st, it's based on the fact that we want to keep you safe, okay? Keep you safe, and keep the staff safe, and make sure that your parents, if they're dropping you off, are keeping safe. So underlying all of this and everything that we do is safety, okay? So I don't want you thinking, oh no, we're going back on June the 1st, blah, 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 blah. We don't know what's happening yet. And as soon as we know, I will let you and your parents know, and we'll all be in a better position and be able to prepare ourselves a little bit better. Okay? So I just wanted to just touch on that for a second. I don't want to dwell on it too much. And I can't really answer any questions because I don't really know any of the answers. But I didn't want you thinking that actually let's just forget about it and you sitting there at home and thinking we've got to go back on the 1st. Okay. So morning to anybody else who's just joined. So Parisa, I think Arvin, you've just joined, and Chedza, I think I saw your name, and Wasim, I think I saw your name. Morning to everybody. Okay. So you should have received something on Dojo today, which is just your starter. I decided actually it's morning Tabor. It's morning. I decided actually your starter from now on until these live lessons finish will be on Dojo, and it will be sent 10 minutes before, and then your lesson will be specifically on something. Okay. So your starter today was fractions of amount. And the reason it was fractions of amount is because that's the last thing we did on Thursday last week. Excuse me. And this week it leads on to what we're going to do today. Okay. So today we're going to be looking at how to find percentages of an amount. Okay, percentage of amount. Morning, Isa. Now, you know from the previous weeks that fractions and percentages and decimals are all linked. So actually, this isn't too difficult to what you've previously done. Okay. I'm going to show you two methods. One method I think is really more challenging, but what I would say is that it's less steps. Okay, and method 2 is more steps, but I think is less challenging, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'll show you the two methods, and you can choose whichever method you think is the easiest. Okay, so we're going to look at the first one, the first method, and I'm just going to move that main window a little bit so you can actually see it. 1 second. It's just cutting off a little bit of the slide. Okay, I think that's good enough. Okay, so the first one that we're going to look at is finding 15% of 100. Now this is, I think, is slightly easier as a method than the second one, but it helps you to understand how to do it. So we're going to follow the arrows. So we've got 15% of 100. In maths, what does of mean? What does of mean in maths? What does of mean in maths? Yeah, well done, Khadija. It means multiply. So well done, Parisa and Jigay. It means multiply. And this is a little bit easier because actually we know that percent means out of 100. So this actually means what is 15 out of 100. Okay. But we're going to follow the steps to make sure that we understand easily. Well done, Dilraj, Abs, and Kaimani and Elsa. To try and understand the process, we want to know the process, okay? So the first step is we are going to divide our number by 10. Now we're going to divide our number by 10 because that helps us find what 10% is, okay? So to do that, we can draw a quick place value grid and we're going to divide it by 10, okay? Do that, divide it by 10. So we put it 100 in our place value grid. And we divide it by 10, which means we're going to move which way and how many spaces. Which way and how many spaces. If I draw my number in a place value grid, which way am I going to go and how many spaces? Excuse me. So as we look at the screen, we're going to go right once. So we're dividing, we make the number smaller. We're multiplying, we make the number bigger. So we're dividing, so we're going to move one space to the right, all of our numbers. And that gives us 100 divided by 10 equals 10. Now we're going to now use this number to multiply, but we're going to use the tens column. So the arrow is pointing to the tens column. So we're going to do 10 multiplied by 1. Well, 10 times 1 equals 10. Pretty easy. Then we're going to move on and we're going to look at dividing a number by 100. So we've got the number, we're going to divide it by 100 again. So we're going to 100 divided by 100. Well, 100 divided by 100 means we're going to move 2 spaces to the right. So we're going to move everything 2 spaces to the right. And that gives us the answer of 1. Now, using the same method, we are going to multiply again by the ones column. So in the ones column, we have a 5, and 1 times 5 equals 5. So far, if you look at the two numbers in green, we have two answers. We have what 10% is and what 5% is. Now, what we've done here is we've partitioned the numbers. We've partitioned the 15% to find 10% and to find 5%. And that's what this method is to partition the numbers, the percentage numbers, to find individual percentages. But to find the total, we need to add the 10 and the 5 up. So 10 add 5 equals 15. So 15% of 100 is actually just 15. Now I know that was super easy, and I'm not expecting you to have struggled at that one. Okay. But the method that you use to be able to do that is the same for every single percentage. So step 1 is divide it by 10 to find 10%. Okay. And then multiply it by the tens column of our percentage. Then you are going to divide by 100 to find 1% and multiply it by the ones column. And then at the end, you have your 15%, okay? Because you add them together. We're going to look at another one. So this one's a little bit more challenging. We have 27% of 200. So we draw ourselves a quick place value grid. And we are going to divide our number, excuse me, by 100 to by 10 to find 10%. So 200 divided by 10, we put our 200 in our place value grid, and we move everything one place to the right. Well, 200 divided by 10 equals 20. Okay. We're then going to multiply it by our tens column. Our tens column is where the red arrow is pointing to. So 20 times 2, and 20 times 2 equals 40. So it's simple maths. This isn't difficult maths, it's simple, okay? The next step is we are going to take our 200 again, but this time to find 1%, we are going to divide it by 100. Well, 200 divided by 100, when we move it 2 spaces to the right, gives us 2. Again, we're going to use our 2 and multiply it by the ones column of our percentage. So 2 times 7 equals 14. What's the next step I'm going to do? I have my answer of my 10% and I have my answer of my 1%. What's the next step I'm going to do? Well done, Salad. What's the next step? I've got my 40 and I have my 14. What's the next step? Well done, Khadija. Well done, Tabor. Well done, Simon. Well done, Sahil. Yep, we're going to add them together. So I have my 40 and my 14, and 40 add 14 gives me 54. Well done, Chedza. Well done, Zuleika. Well done, Dowd. Well done, Salad. So the answer to 27% of 200 is 54. So again, we've used the steps. Divide by 10 to find 10% and then multiply that answer by the tens column of our percentage. Then divide by 100 to find 1% and multiply by the ones column to find our ones percentage. Then add the two answers together to give us our answer. Okay. I want you to have a go at this one before I tell you the answers and method, but I want you to send me your answers on Dojo. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to this for a couple of minutes to have a go, and then I will come back and send me your answers on Dojo. Okay, so you should have had a chance now to have a go at it, and I can see by my phone and my watch going off that lots and lots of people have sent me their answers, which is great. I will check them later. Okay, um, we're going to go through this one, and if you have got the answer correct. So we're going to go step by step. So my first step is to find 10%. Well, to find 10%, I draw a place value grid, and I'm going to divide by 10. So everything moves one place to the right. Well, 10% of 130 is 13. Then to find my actual percentage I need, I'm going to multiply by the tens column. Well, 13 times 1 equals 13. Okay. Then the next one, I've got 130. I'm going to find my 1% divided by 100. Well, I put my 130 in and I move 2 spaces to the right. Okay, 2 spaces to the right. And that gives me 1.3. So 1.3 is the answer we're going to use, and we're going to multiply it by the ones column. So we've got 1.3 multiplied by 3. And you can do this one of two ways. So you can actually work this out by just doing 1.3, and we do the long division. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 1 times 3 is 3, which would give us 3.9. You can partition the numbers, and you can do it that way, or you can actually just do 1.3 plus 1.3 plus 1.3. Okay, but 1.3 times 3 is 3.9. So to finish this, we now need to add them up, and we have 13 and 3.9. Looking at this calculation now, what's missing from this calculation to help me be able to calculate it more accurately? What's missing from this calculation to help me calculate more accurately? So the add, we know it's an add, but it's actually something that's missing from the calculation. Well done, Khadija, and well done, Salad. It's the 0. So actually, by balancing the numbers, it makes it much, much easier for me to know which columns I'm adding and which columns I'm subtracting or anything else. Now, to ensure that you do that for questions in your tests or moving forward, it's just best practice. You don't have to do it, but it's best practice to ensure that each of them are balanced in terms of they have the same digits in their place value grid. Okay, and then we've got our addition sign, which I think a few people put. So 0 plus 9 is 9, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So the answer to 13% of 130 is 16.9. Okay, I'll check in a minute who got it right. If you didn't get it right, it's fine. This video will be back online again, probably minutes after it's finished, so you get the chance to have a look. I'm now going to show you a second method, which is a little bit quicker, but is a bit more challenging for you to do when you are multiplying. Okay. So method 2 is this. I'm finding 11% of 200. Now you can see already on the right hand side of your screen that there's only 2 steps. Okay, there's only 2 steps. But those 2 steps are dividing by 100, which you all know how to do, and multiplying by the percentage. Okay, so we'll have a go at doing one. Same principles apply. I draw myself a place value grid and I plot in my number. So 200. I'm going to divide it by 100, which means I'm going to move it 2 spaces to the right, which gives me 2. Then, instead of me partitioning the number, our percentage number, I'm going to multiply it just by the percentage itself. Okay. Well done, Sahil and Amani, for getting this right. Well done, Kai Amani. And I'm going to do 2 multiplied by the whole amount of my percentage. Well, 2 times 11 equals 22. So 11% of 200 equals 22. Now, obviously, this one isn't too difficult, so it seems a little bit easier. But when we're moving on, it's a bit more challenging. So we'll have a look at another one, and we'll see if we can do that. Well done, Abra, Jagir, who else we got? Booze, the Laker. Okay, so we have 5% of 180. So the first step, super simple. We're going to draw ourselves a place value grid, and we're going to plot in our number 180, and we're going to divide it by 100. So move everything 2 places to the right, which gives us 1.8. Okay, 1.8. Then we're going to multiply our 1.8 by our percentage. Now our percentage is 5%. Okay, 1.8 times 5. Now to do this, you can do the 0.8 times 5 and the 1 times 5. Okay, so 0.8 times 5 is the same as 8 times 5, but we put a decimal point in between the numbers because we're using decimal points. So 0.8 times 5 gives us the answer of 4, and 1 times 5 gives us the answer of 5. So 5 plus 4 gives us 9. Now you could also, because we know that 5% is half of 10%, you could have also found 10% and then halved it. But the reason it becomes more challenging is some people find it more difficult to multiply a decimal with an integer than they do with multiplying integer by integer. Okay? We're going to look in a future lesson at multiplying decimals. But for those people who don't know how to do it, you multiply a decimal as though it has no decimal point, and then you place a decimal point in at the appropriate part once you're finished. So in this case, we would do 1.8 times 5, okay? And we would put a decimal point in for the amount of decimal points of our number. So we do 18 times 5. Well, 18 times 5 is 90. But because we have one decimal place, we will put a decimal point in between the 9 and the 0. But we will go into that at a future date. Moving on to the last one, which is a lot more challenging. We're going to do 32% of 120. Okay. So we draw a place value grid, and we put in 120, and we divide it by 100, so 2 places to the right, which gives us 1.2. And then we are going to multiply our 1.2 by the whole amount of 32. Okay? I want you to have a go at doing that. Try using the method I just said, where you multiply 32 by 12 and then put in a single decimal point. Send me the answers on Dojo. Okay, so you should have had a chance to do that now. 32 times 1.2. So I'm going to do this in the same way I would do it usually, which is I would do 32 times 12. Well, 32 times 12 is 384. And I can see in my decimal, I have one decimal place. So using my 384, I'm going to put in my decimal point, just one decimal place in. So my 384 becomes 38.4. Okay. I'm going to send you today some extra questions on finding percentages of amounts. Now, you should, in your work this week, you should have questions of that sort. But today I'm going to send you on Dojo straight after this lesson another 6 to 8 questions which are challenging you to do percentage of amounts. Now, I don't mind how you do it. I don't mind which way you do it. I just want you to do it not using a calculator. Your brain is doing the same steps and the same algorithm as a calculator would be doing. It's just that you're using your brain to do it. Okay? I am going to just quickly, before I go, I'm going to get everybody again to make sure that they put their name, just their name, onto the screen. And then I'm going to go and pause my screen for a second and leave this screen on. And I'm going to try and get another spinning screen on so you can see it live who wins the prize. Okay. So write your name and I'll make sure that I've got everybody on the screen. Okay, right, okay, I think I've got everybody's names, so I'm going to go offline in a second. I'm going to spin the wheel, I'm going to film it on my iPhone, and I'm going to upload it to Class Dojo so you can see who the winner is this week, okay? So apologies for it freezing for a second. I've just needed to make it so that we could spin the wheel, okay? I will thank you again for today. If there are any questions and you're feeling like you're unsure of things that moving forward and what's happening in the world around us, okay, you can message on Dojo because I know this isn't really the forum for it. You can message on Dojo and we will try and answer what we can answer. Mr. Morgan will be sending out in the next few days updates as he finds out. Tomorrow we will be working on ratio. So if you're not really sure about how to do ratio, make sure you log on and we will do what we can do to get you a little bit better even. Okay. Well done, Year 6. You've been doing amazing while this lockdown's been happening. I hope you have a great day. I will be doing this video in the next 5 minutes. And you will see who the winner is. Have a wonderful day and thank you for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. See you later.